Roman Reigns breaks silence after betrayal by Jimmy Uso at WWE Night of Champions. Backstage update on Bray Wyatt's return following Alexa Bliss pregnancy. Ronda Rousey attacks WWE. Rhea Ripley breaking records. Brock Lesnar called an idiot. The Bloodline Civil War begins. Let's jump right into it. Backstage update on Bray Wyatt's return following Alexa Bliss pregnancy. Former WWE champion Bray Wyatt is reportedly set to return after missing time due to injury, while plans for Alexa Bliss are currently on hold due to her pregnancy. Wyatt was supposed to face Bobby Lashley at WrestleMania 39. However, the match was quietly dropped due to a real-life injury to the Eater of Worlds. There were also unconfirmed reports about his unhappiness with WWE, but it seemed like he was, in reality, dealing with an injury. Meanwhile, Bliss recently announced on social media that she's expecting her first child with husband Ryan Cabrera. The baby is due on December 2023, which means the Wicked Witch of WWE will be out for a while longer. She's been inactive since January due to undergoing treatment for skin cancer. According to WWE on Twitter at @BoozerWrestling, Wyatt could be back on television soon. One fan asked him about the plans for Wyatt and Bliss. He revealed that Wyatt's return has already been written, while everything has changed for Bliss. As previously reported, Bray Wyatt is expected to be back on the road for SummerSlam. Wyatt's return has been underwhelming, but he remains one of the most popular characters in WWE. Bray Wyatt's first televised match since returning to WWE was a pitch black match against Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. It was poorly received by fans online, and WWE was not overly fond of the match, as well as Wyatt's new character. According to Jake Scudder of Fightfans UK, the company was under the impression that The Fiend was a much better character than Uncle Howdy. The Fiend was a merchandise mover back then, which is something WWE loves. Wyatt was not part of the WWE draft last month, which means he might still be a member of SmackDown. It will be interesting to see if the company revisits his feud with Bobby Lashley, who is also now part of the Blue Brand. Who would you like to see Bray Wyatt face once he returns to WWE television? Give us your answer in the comments section below. Alexa Bliss replacement. For the longest time, it seemed like Alexa Bliss would return to WWE alongside Bray Wyatt. The company even teased a reunion between the two during her last appearance. However, now fans know the goddess isn't returning anytime soon. Alexa Bliss recently announced that she is pregnant with her child due in December. Congratulations are in order for the five-time women's champion and her husband, Ryan Cabrera. As a result, though, WWE's hints of a partnership with Wyatt and Uncle Howdy will come to nothing for now. The two-time Universal Champion hasn't been seen on television for over 3 months, but could be set to return soon. Once Bray Wyatt eventually comes back, he would need a woman to fill the void left by Alexa Bliss' potential inclusion. It is an opportunity to give an underutilized female star some spotlight, somebody like Xia Li. The Chinese WWE superstar was drafted to Raw, but is yet to appear on the Red Brand. Lee has also barely been used on SmackDown despite her promising in-ring skills and menacing look. She also has experience in darker storylines, having been a part of Mei Ying's arc in NXT. This would make her an interesting choice to return alongside Wyatt as his fierce female ally, possibly with a name change to fit the potential storyline. Xia Li may not be the strongest on promos, but it's fine as Bray Wyatt can do most of the talking for them. Despite making the perfect return at the end of Extreme Rules 2022, many have classed Bray Wyatt's run since then as a flop. He has wrestled one televised match, the pitch black match against Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. The feud may have been solid, but the payoff was disappointing. Wyatt was then supposed to feud with Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania 39, but the Beast incarnate allegedly refused to face him. He would begin a storyline with Bobby Lashley for the shows, but was gone from WWE television shortly afterward. It was reportedly due to a physical issue. While there hasn't been an update on his health recently, reports of Bray Wyatt being back in time for SummerSlam could provide some optimism for fans. Whenever he finally returns, he shouldn't come alone. WWE should give Xia Li a chance in such a storyline, as it is a free hit with the potential to be something huge. Ronda Rousey attacks WWE. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler won the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship on the May 29, 2023 episode of Raw. Since then, the baddest woman on the planet has immediately made headlines with some of her remarks. A few weeks ago, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan had vacated the titles after the latter suffered an injury. On the latest edition of Monday Night Raw, Rousey made Shotzi tap out to win the Women's Tag Team Championship alongside Shayna Baszler in a fatal four-way match. Speaking to New York Post after winning the titles, Rousey criticized the company's women's division. The baddest woman on the planet made it known that she was aware of the problems within WWE. Her comments stirred up a storm in the wrestling fraternity. Fans took to Twitter to react to Ronda Rousey's controversial remarks. Most fans agreed with the criticism, claiming that WWE did not care much about its women's division. However, some did not like her taking a shot at her colleagues. WWE could give Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler an extended run with the women's tag team titles. The two have been dominant in their work on the main roster. It would make sense to book them as the meanest team in the company. Speaking to New York Post, the baddest woman on the planet claimed that she wanted her and Shayna Baszler to be the most active champions on the roster. However, she cited a lack of competition in the division as a major problem. Well, the lack of competition is really the problem. I mean, we want to be the most active champions out there. there. I want to be able to defend this title every week and even twice a week on both SmackDown and Raw. But with how dismally shallow the women's division is right now, there's not enough women around here to keep us busy for a month. And so that's the biggest challenge that we have, is to get this company to actually care and invest into this tag division. Over the years, fans have been critical of the booking of the women's division in general and the women's tag team championship in particular. Most of the time, the title is seen as an afterthought. Fans can hope to see Rousey and Baszler elevate the value of the titles with a good run. Do you agree with Rousey's remarks? Sound off in the comments section below. Rhea Ripley breaking record. Current SmackDown Women's Champion Rhea Ripley has been on a roll for a long time, with her last singles loss on WWE TV coming a year ago. The Nightmare is doing an incredible job as a member of the Judgment Day and SmackDown Women's Champion. She has been undefeated for quite some time now and has looked dominant not just against female stars but also against her male peers. Rhea Ripley's last singles loss came on the May 29, 2022 episode of WWE Raw. That night, she lost to Liv Morgan via pinfall. Since the defeat, Ripley hasn't lost a televised singles WWE match via pinfall or submission. She's 11-0 in televised singles matches since her loss to her former tag team partner. Over the past year, Ripley has registered a plethora of massive wins in several high-stakes WWE matches. She won an intergender match against Akira Tozawa in December 2022. The Nightmare also beat Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's title at WrestleMania 39 earlier this year. In her latest outing, she defeated WWE veteran Natalya at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. In 2021, Ripley opened up about her future goals in WWE and stated that she doesn't set goals and wants to test how far she can go. I don't really set goals because I want to see how far I can get. I'm going to keep working and doing my thing, and I guess we'll see where it takes me. I'm not going to give up on anything. If I have something that I do want to focus on, I'll focus on that, but I just want to make history in this business. I feel like I've done a lot already, but I want to make more. It makes me excited just thinking about it. I feel like I've got a good 10 years still, maybe more. Based on her current form, it seems that Ripley has a lot more to accomplish and is certainly on the right path. With the way she's being pushed on WWE TV, the future looks bright for the Australian star. Has Rhea Ripley impressed you on WWE TV so far? Let us know in the comments section below. Brock Lesnar called an idiot. As per Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar allegedly told Vince McMahon on the road to WrestleMania XX that he wanted to quit WWE for NFL. Lesnar had had enough of WWE's hectic travel schedule by early 2004. He wanted to leave the company and go to the NFL. The Beast allegedly had a chat with his WWE rival Kurt Angle around that time. Angle recently had a chat with Inside the Ropes. The WWE Hall of Famer revealed that Brock Lesnar told him he wanted to quit the company. Angle then told Lesnar that he needed to wait until WrestleMania XX before telling Vince McMahon about his plans. Angle explained that telling Vince before Mania would result in him doing the job to Goldberg at the event. Lesnar agreed with him and decided to tell Vince after WrestleMania XX. Here's what happened next. We go back. We go to Raw or SmackDown. We're on SmackDown. He goes up to Vince. Says, Vince, I want to try out for the NFL. I was like, oh, man. He just picked himself. So next week is WrestleMania, and what happened? Brock Lesnar does the job against Goldberg. It would have been the other way if Brock would have smartened up, but he didn't because he's an idiot, Angle said. In his book Death Clutch, Lesnar stated that he told Angle about his plan to get out of the business. He added that Angle most probably snitched on him to Vince McMahon. Here is an excerpt from the book. Believing I could trust Kurt, I told him I was thinking of getting out of the business. I didn't tell anyone else, and he said he wouldn't either. But soon after I confided in him, I became convinced that Vince knew I was planning to leave. Did Kurt stooge me out? Lesnar wrote. In the end, things turned out pretty well for Lesnar. He made a fortune in the UFC and became a top mainstream athlete. This eventually helped him score a lucrative contract with WWE in 2012. Lesnar is still going strong and is one of the most popular acts in professional wrestling today. Whose story you believe? Sound off in the comments. Solo Sico insulted. Solo Sico was in a bad mood after he was pinned at Night of Champions, resulting in Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens retaining the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. To make matters worse, while he was on his way backstage, a fan began hurling expletives at the Bloodline member. At Night of Champions, Sico teamed up with Roman Reigns to challenge for the titles. During the match, after the Tribal Chief unintentionally knocked the referee out with a spear, the Usos made their way to the crowd. During the interference, the Usos made quick work of Kevin Owens, and when they proceeded to do the same to Zayn, the former Bloodline member ducked out of the way of Superkick. Unfortunately, the move aimed at knocking out Zayn accidentally hit Solo Sico. An infuriated Roman Reigns returned to the ring, yelled at the Usos, and began pushing them around. Jimmy Uso decided he had had enough of Reigns telling him what to do and kicked the Tribal Chief in his face. The Bloodline implosion allowed Zayn and Owens to hit Solo Sico with their finishers and pin him. After the match ended, the enforcer of the Bloodline went backstage. In a video that was taken at the Night of Champion. One can see Solo Siko's reaction to the fan constantly yelling at him. While the Bloodline imploded in the main event, the enforcer of the faction was pinned. Since the Premium Live event, Sico has been quiet. However, he sent a cryptic tweet a few days before Roman Reigns' 1,000-day celebration on WWE SmackDown. Many fans speculate that Sico will have to choose sides in the battle against the Bloodline, and that the post suggests the same. The only person who has addressed the situation head-on is Paul Heyman. The special counsel, on his way out of Saudi Arabia, tweeted that they will all talk about it on Friday. What is your take on the Bloodline's implosion? Sound off in the comments section below. Roman Reigns breaks silence after betrayal by Jimmy Uso at WWE Night of Champions. Roman Reigns took to Twitter to send a message for the first time since getting betrayed by Jimmy Uso at WWE Night of Champions. However, the tribal chief refused to mention the collapse of Bloodline in his latest tweet. Night of Champions ended on a shocking note as Jimmy finally snapped at the Bloodline leader and laid him out with multiple super kicks. Jey Uso, however, did not participate in the beatdown and tried to stop his brother from attacking Reigns. Jimmy's actions also cost Roman and Solo Sikoa their match against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Roman Reigns is expected to address the incident on the upcoming edition of SmackDown, where he will also be celebrating reaching 1,000 days as Universal Champion. Ahead of his appearance on the Blue brand, the tribal chief took to Twitter to send a message. However, his tweet had no mention of what went down at the recently concluded Premium Live event. The Samoan instead highlighted his upcoming schedule with the company, welcoming everyone to the Summer of Greatness. While Reigns has been working a limited schedule for over a year, he is set to make more frequent appearances in the upcoming months. He's even slated to be present at a couple of house shows. Roman Reigns has hit his stride as the tribal chief and has been at the top of the WWE food chain ever since embracing his villainous side. The head of the table is undoubtedly the biggest star in all of professional wrestling and is slowly reaching the stardom of greats like The Rock, Stone Cold, and John Cena. Another wrestler who transcended the wrestling business in his time is Hulk Hogan. Being a generational star himself, the WWE Hall of Famer had special praise reserved for the Bloodline leader. He's kept the art form alive, Hogan said. I mean, he has stepped up and got away from this kinda like choreographed looking, jumping and two guys doing the same thing and diving through the ropes. Roman Reigns took it back to where it should be. Big man, big moves, main event move. He really just kept the art form alive for all of us. With Roman Reigns set to wrestle at Money in the Bank, it'll be interesting to see what WWE has in store for him at the PLE in London. His two rumored matches at the historic event are a singles match against Jimmy Uso or a tag match against the Usos with Solo Sikoa by his side.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me